I'm Connor Northrup. I'm joined by UFC bantamweight Andre Ewell, who is set to fight Irwin Rivera at UFC on ESPN Plus 36 on September 19th. What's up, Andre? How you doing?
Awesome, man. Awesome. Truly happy to be here and on here with you, brother. So thank you for having me.
I almost didn't recognize you without the perm.
Uh, I like you. I like you. Hey, it's coming out. It's coming back for the next one. I promise you. It's coming back. I'm bringing it out just to showcase it. And, I'm still keeping the hairdo under it, though. But,
Yeah,
I'm definitely going to be showcasing it out.
yeah. And now you already fought like once this year, but that's kind of hard to believe with everything that's happened since then. I mean, obviously the COVID thing. I know you had the birth of your son. I mean, there's murder hornets. There, the Black Lives Matter movement. I mean, just so many things going on since then. I mean, that fight must feel like a lifetime ago.
Truth be told, it is. It's like literally 7 months that last time I actually even entered the cage. And then granted, like with everything that was all going on in the movements and stuff like that, I was dealing through or going through the whole surgeries and stuff like that. And now I'm 100% back, healthy, in better shape, and also bringing nothing but a smile. Like you stated, I have a beautiful boy that ended up coming out this year. And hopefully, the Black Lives Matter, more progress end up being taken to automatically push forward, justice for the people. So, hey, nothing but forward and positive thinking.
Yeah. Then now, like with all that being said, too, like did that time like away? Did that like go fast or did it go slow?
I'm not gonna lie, it was going slow for me. I was like literally dying in jeopardy of my own mind, because granted, because other people are still fighting, and it's like I said, me, I was like 100% ready or mentally ready to come back, but it was one of the surgeries that was holding me back. Of hey, no, you got to end up fully recovering. You got to get cleared. So my battles was basically healing up and getting cleared. And now that I'm cleared, the soonest I wanted to be in was basically like end of August, basically, not too long ago. But they gave me September 19th, which I definitely am all smiles for.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I was like ready in August in my eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been such like a weird scenario too because there's guys like too that had the injuries and stuff and were kind of able to jump on the opportunity early on. Then you have other guys who have fought. And I think Brian Keller, like he's a guy that comes to mind. He just jumped on it. Yusuf Zalal too. I think he's fought 3 times. So it's like a lot of these guys have been able to cash in and some haven't, unfortunately.
Yeah, and like one of the guys you talk about, boy Kevin Holland, like he's on the whole
Yeah.
back and forth. One of my teammates, Roe, he's basically fighting this weekend with my boy Jalen Turner. So, I know, granted, like this is Jalen's second fight this year, but Roe been, I believe this is his third, going on his third fight already.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wow.
and if not third, fourth this year. It's one or the other. But all I know is like for me to automatically be fighting next week, I'm gonna end up aiming to either fight again that night or the following. I end up looking at it. I'm about to honestly try to stay as busy as possible, and constantly keep getting this boat flowing and moving forward. I got things to do, and Andre needs another contract. That's why I look at
Yeah.
it. You know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the same night fight that seems maybe a little overzealous, but like with you too, and having so much time off. I mean, how do you feel like physically right now?
Physically strong right now, like, and that's even me stating with me dropping weight, and uh, like the way everybody's over here is telling me, it's like, oh man, you're ahead of schedule, and it's like, truth be told, I am kind of ahead of schedule, and it's like I know it's worrying them, but you gotta end up remembering I've been basically training for 7 months, like
Hmm.
literally after I got done, even with the arm, they told me, hey, yeah. You don't need surgery. At least for the first week and a half, I didn't need surgery, or first 2 weeks. But I got my knee done, and all I had to do was get that one walkable. And then as soon as I got it walkable, I was training again.
Hmm.
Granted with one, flabby arm, and then I went in and got the surgery. But guess what? It was an arm surgery, so I was still able to move with my legs.
Hmm.
And then it followed up with another surgery on my left knee this time. And then I had to wait an extra 2 weeks. By the time that was end up healing up, my right arm was automatically back to normal. So I went back to boxing, excluding the wrestling and jits. And now back to the legs. So, in other words, what I'm saying is I was basically training on
Hmm.
periods, and I was just waiting for the opportunity to automatically get back. So, There you go.
Yeah. Does that kind of train you though? Does that kind of help you too? Because it's like you have this certain amount of time period where you're working on like a certain amount of thing instead of rather maybe working on multiple things like within like a week, 2 week span.
You could end up floating in that direction, but for me, it was just like I said that when I couldn't use my right hand, I was using my left hand, and I was honestly working on my kicks as soon as, or at least my left side of the kicks. As soon as my right leg got healed, it was like, it put like this. I am a huge fan of basics, like of learning from like scratching, taking the time to automatically critique things and make it perfect. And with my kicks, I was always a fan of my kicks, but since I had the whole right bucket tear, I had to kind of lay off on certain kicks, and I could only do certain kicks, which was leading off with the leg, or if I did use the right one, there were certain ways I had to honestly angle even throw it before it gets locked up or something. But now I have that full freedom where nothing's locking up to the moment that I get to practice kicks that I wanted to work on and definitely can do now, and then even sharpen up on kicks that I already had. So. And then now, since both my legs are back to normal, I was able to honestly think about the whole wrestling aspect of the mind frame of the game.
Yeah.
Granted, it was always scrambling with everybody, but now it can turn into not only scrambling, let me take you down, and let me do this, and let me do that.
Mm-hmm. You talked about fighting twice on the same night, and you also brought up Kevin Holland's name. I can't help but think that I think Kevin. If I had to pick another guy that would do that, I think Kevin Holland would be that guy.
And to be honest, I think that's why I think me and him actually clicked, because the first time we ever met each other, it was like, best friend type thing,
Yeah.
like random of, hey, like we're just like talking, and even had the chance to fight on the same card for one night. Just one of those things we were just like, it was always just cool, and so he automatically gets mad respect for me, and it's like I said, I think he'll be the only one, and besides him, it'll be me. But the thing is, he's actually having the chance to do everything. Because, he's on a roll, and I feel like he's going to be one of the next guys that's going to end up taking over at that weight class. But granted, at the same, like I said, the same night, if my big brother T. Woodley want to tag me in, I'll fight Covenant that night. You feel me? Yeah. So hands down. But that should be like awesome fight as well.
Yeah. And we talked about guys that maybe have, kind of cashed in on this whole like COVID thing and being able to fight now. And I think, Irwin Rivera is a guy who's done that. I mean, he just got into the UFC. Obviously, I think he lost his debut in May, but turned around, got a win in August. So he's fought twice now too. How much stock do you put in the fact that, maybe like you haven't fought since, February. So for him, it's like, is there an advantage for you because you've kind of seen more of his recent work, whether, now, some of your fight stuff are 7 months removed?
Well, it could be tomato. I end up looking at it. Just practicing. I know a lot of people could be like, oh, well, he hasn't done nothing for 7 months, and, he's been like laid off, and he's going to have to shake off the cobwebs in the first round and then, try to pick up. But everything, like I stated, it all comes into like a mind frame of honestly what you're doing on the outside. And I have 2 family members, my brother and my cousin, that are 100% on my bumper, which one is Adrian and the other one's Damon. So it's my conditioning and boxing. They're automatically bumping on it. So everything that I end up doing was literally pushed forward. And then we go into the jits life that my professor Sean has been kicking my bumper. I want to say the word the ass, but I already said it, so my apologies.
That's all right. You can say that here.
Okay, good. All right. So, yeah, even put me through like the ringer, man, and I ended up having like good teammates that I ended up following suit to automatically push me. Like like I said, like training with Jalen, my boy Andrew, and then I have my striking coach Tony. Like every one of them is pushing me up into the next level to keep me automatically on my toes. And everything that's automatically been dealt in training has been put up at a pedestal of effective live scenarios. Are you with me? Like, hey, you're gonna die today if you don't get up. It's like one of those moments. Like, hey, if you don't escape this choke, you're gonna die today, or we're gonna be waking you up in the next 10 minutes. Like, it's like one of those type of deals. But it also could end up floating on Irwin as well. Like, hey, I did get the chance to watch that fight, like his debut. I ended up watching that fight. It was a good fight. It was an interesting fight. He's very explosive. He has heart, and he constantly keeps pushing. And it's like, and like catching a few things where he's from that we like to keep things exciting. And that's like his mind frame, and that's the same mind frame as me. It's like, hey, we like to keep things exciting. Where I'm from, we got to throw our hands. Like, we got to go ahead, put everything on the line, let's go. And for me to fight someone like that, it's automatically a W in my eyes.
Yeah. Is there, like you talked about a little bit, like what you've seen from him too? Has anything like really stood out as far as like maybe like a weakness or anything like that?
Oh, you can definitely say a lot of weaknesses, but at the same time, it's me. I'm like a painter when it comes into, or a painter / artiste when it comes into the cage type thing. So I end up seeing a lot of flaws. Like I even have flaws, but at the same time, I kind of end up throwing those awkward flaws out there for other people to feel like they can capitalize on, but not knowing it's a trap. It's little small things, So you got to end up remembering that he took a fight on a day notice with a very, very good striker. And this guy, I still to this day, I don't feel like he don't like me. But to this day, like Chiga, or I haven't pronounced his damn name, but like, like that was a dangerous kicker, black belt, the whole dude. The dude's pretty good, and for Irwin to take that fight on a day notice, that's nothing but like fucking love for that man, And then his next fight that he had, he ended up winning by decision. Hey, the dude, it's a game guy. So granted that I'm here to stop him, and granted that I'm here to keep it exciting, and granted that I'm here to honestly finish this in the first round. So my mindset is early night, let me move on, and etc. And ain't looking past them, just saying that this is the skill that they're going to get from it. A very game man.
How big like an opportunity is this too? Because you already talked about kind of how you want to fight right after this too, and also I know in the UFC you yet to string back-to-back wins, and obviously a win here would do that. So just with that, and also the fact of just kind of getting that ball rolling and continuing on after this, like how big of a chance is this on September 19th?
Oh, it's a big chance. It's a beautiful opportunity. Like I said, it's a perfect opponent. His style fits perfectly for mine, and just like my style fits perfectly for his. So it's only going to be exciting for the world to watch, and just know that I'm gonna have my Twitter fingers ready, to go ahead and be like, hey, send this message out and tell them that I'm, how do you think I did or whatnot. But my frame on the thing, it's a need to be a back-to-back win for me. And I know a lot of people feel like, oh, that's a lot of pressure, but to me, every night's automatically one of those type of nights. Anything can happen, but as long as you keep the mind frame to keep it positive, hey, it's gonna flow in the right direction. And you gotta think about it like the losses that I had was two good, great fighters. Like granted, the Chito, me and him don't see eye to eye on a lot of damn things, and we got to run that back. But look at him. That was a person that ended up beating me and got ranked, and ended up beating, O'Malley the whole nine. And arguably, I feel like he beat some, but hey, stuff ended up happening on a situation where, karma and attitude got to end up matching. So, they probably gave it to him if he wasn't awkwardly weird on a lot of shit. But besides the point, it was Cheeto, and then you had Nathaniel Wood, and like I said, we end up running it back 9 times. Between those two, I feel like I end up destroying them the next 9 times. It's one of those times that they won. Hey, run with it. But the next time we see each other, just know I'm beating that ass. Excuse my cursing.
You mean bumper?
yeah, my bumper.
But you brought up Vera. I just got to ask too. Like, what did you make of that O'Malley win too? Because I know there was like a lot of controversy around there. Like, when you watched that fight, what was kind of your initial reaction?
Truth be told, like, my opinion, I honestly felt like Chito was going to win the fight. So I don't want no one to be like, oh, I'm just jumping sides and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I felt like Chito was going to end up winning that fight, but I felt like he was going to get robbed at the end. And then granted, that the way that it ended, I did not like it, where the fact is in where Chito was raising his hand on the fact of, oh, I did all this work and beat him. And it's like reality, the only thing you should be excited about, and which you should have automatically finished, was the ground and pound. Not the fact is in, hey, I kicked him and I hurt his legs, and it's like, nah, you didn't do that. Like, what's the name? Like, it's like what I was explaining to other people. It's just the way O'Malley's style is very similar to mine. Like, we kind of have like a similar, but not similar, but very similar. Where our style kind of blends into this moment that where it's like a double-edged sword. Like, it's like one of those situations where like you could be very explosive on one thing, but very weak on another. And for our cases, our ankles are the weak part. So, he gets in, explodes, you extend, but when you try to get out, or if you like hyperextend or you extend in a certain type of way, your ankles are kind of fragile. Like, you could literally end up seeing, like, when I fought Dos Santos, when I fought Cheeto, even the last fight with Martinez. My style, I try to get out, I rolled my ankle. Like, I rolled my ankle 3 times in all three of the fights. And I felt like it was actually in Nathaniel Wood too. It just kind of comes down where it's like you're explosive and exciting, and when you try to get out or you end up moving awkwardly, your feet doesn't keep up with the hands, or your hands doesn't keep up with your feet. It's one or the other where what ends up happening. So for him to capitalize and say, "Oh yeah, I checked him and I was kicking him," and it's like, "Nah, you really didn't kick the boy," But it is what it is. He was there, right place, right time, I guess you can say, and hey, he got his ranking back.
Yeah, being someone who, like you said, like has kind of had that similar thing happen with rolling your ankle. Like, did you feel any sympathy for like O'Malley in that moment?
Say that part again.
Because like you're someone who has like kind of had that like injury and like rolled your ankle before too, like doing what O'Malley was doing. Did you have any like sympathy for him in that moment?
At first I did, until you started doing the macarena.
That's true.
I was like, come on, baby. Like, you gotta, because it's like, what do you end up saying? It's like, I know like a lot of people are like, oh, about this humbling thing, but you gotta remember we're in a sport that is really kind of hard to be humble. Like, like that. Like, the way I look at it is, if you lose, hey, take your lickings. All you're gonna do is say, hey, we run it back, etc., etc. Like right now, I know I lost to Cheeto, but a lot of people's eyes, I was beating Cheeto's ass. And it ended up following place that I ducked my head and he capitalized, etc. And not knowing that my style ended up changing because I had a bucket tear. I can complain and automatically throw a whole bunch of excuses out. But in reality, the only thing I can say is, let's just run it back and we can kind of go off of that. And if we don't fight, then we don't fight. But don't end up talking to me like we're cool when you know what your coaches are over here saying and the stuff that you're telling me in the back. And everything, and now your attitude in front of other people is different people. It's like Cheeto's 2 different type of people, or different sides. So this is why I'm saying that me and him don't click. But like I said, for him or for Miley, it was sympathy for a second. It's like, it's that ankle. But then it was like I said, he started doing the Macarena / cha-cha. I'm like, man, I can't have you back on this one now, But it ends up like I end up understanding stuff ends up happening. It's freak accidents. Like I said, I had my freak accident and he had his. Like, hey, I didn't want to go up in there and break my owner bone. I ended up fucking around and breaking it. So my mind was, hey, finish the fight. That's literally how it was. Finish the fight and keep it. We're excited for the fans. And then, and everybody ended up understanding and getting a good information about the arm. If freaking Joe Rogan would have let me talk on the mic. But he didn't. He was hating on me. But it is what it is.
Yeah. And, O'Malley's a guy who obviously has, been attracted to the fans both, in the cage and out. And, in the beginning of this interview, I kind of joked about the whole like Perm thing, but, just like seeing that too. And I think like in today's day and age too, it's just, it's almost like you have to be more than just a fighter, and it's more than skills as far as just building that brand and everything like that. So for you, like, how much of that is just kind of like goofing off, like with the guys at the gym, and how much of that is kind of like building that brand and kind of, just trying to attract people to not just what you do inside the cage, but, maybe some things you do outside?
Well, it's something that I always end up saying, dude. Like, I've always tell people, like, you're going to have to end up approaching the game in a different type of direction, Like me, I literally came from, like, a place where, a smile would have been very hard to end up seeing stuff like that, not eating type stuff, But when you end up like taking stuff of where you came from and you ended up saying like where you're at now, you're in a good place. You know, like, hey, you're in a better place. No matter how you end up looking at it, you end up kind of being more open to things. And then you end up starting to micromanage and end up looking at what works and what doesn't work. And for me, I know being myself and very funny works for me. You know, like today, like at the gym, like, you know, like at the gym, I'm basically, when you see me in my singlet / onesie, I am literally Daniel Cormier 2.0, like, you know, and that's what they know about me. Like, you know, it's like, oh, he's here, etc. You know, and then the other days I end up making these little scenes / movies / clips to bring everybody in, and not only, like, say for instance, like Perm, I ended up doing the last photo or / video, and I'm not the highlight of my clips. I got my other fighters, or the other fighters that I'm working with, they're more the highlighter. Like, you know, I got my boy Scotty Too Hottie, even George, Evil George they call him. You know, it's like, you know, and it got Eric, like those small things where I end up opening them up to let them know, like, hey, you guys are like 100% awesome. Don't change anything for anybody. Just be yourself. And, you know, and this is where you end up start sparkling and, you know, with like nothing but sparklers and fireworks and stuff like that, you know. But I always end up saying that being yourself, bring excitement. People end up drawing to the truth. If you end up trying to pretend that, you know, to be somebody that you're not, people end up seeing that and visualizing, and this is where you end up actually building up haters that don't actually like you. And granted, haters are still same as fans, I guess. You know, they just hate you, and then you got other ones that love you. You know, but it is what it is.
Yeah. They say sometimes, you know, bad press is good press. So maybe that's the case. But Andre, thanks for the time. Anything before I let you go?
You know, nothing but love to everybody. You know, love to you for honestly bringing me back on the show. I appreciate that and having me, and bringing up Perm, because, you know, Perm is making his debut, or not debut, but his return next week. So, you know, I'm excited about that, and that's the style that they're gonna get. Because if people don't know about Perm, Perm is has a mentality of straightforward and getting the things done. So yeah, be excited for that.
All right, Andre. Well, looking forward to your return and Perm's as well. Thanks for getting the time, and you know, wish you the best come September 19th.